What's going on, everyone? So, as you can tell, we don't have Byron in studio with us, but we do have Bobby Cooper, who you will get to know. Yes, absolutely. You'll get to know him and about his life, what's going on with him, and kind of what we've been doing over the past summer in this episode. So, hang tight and stay tuned.
Absolutely.
All right, everyone. So we're back. Like I said, I got Bobby Cooper with me. Bobby, you want to tell him about yourself a little bit?
Hello. So I have just moved back here about a year now. I was in the Air Force for 21 years, retired last year, and moved back here to be closer to the family. And so because of that, I've been able this summer to work with you and the youth. And, man, we've done a lot of great stuff this summer.
Yeah, we have.
So we've gotten to go to New Orleans for mission trip, getting ready to go down to youth camp. We went down to up to Rector, Arkansas last weekend to have a conference up there with those guys. We did the DNOW back in the fall, and
That's right.
we're planning up another one. And man, we've been going, and so life's been going good with that. So moving back here, my biggest concern was trying to find a community and a brotherhood again to be a part of. And you would understand this in the military lifestyle. We're very much a very community-based camaraderie type thing, and that was one of my concerns when I retired. And moving back here, the D Queen family, man, they've opened me with open arms.
Yeah.
The town has been great to me. The church has been great to me. So I feel like I found my home away from home again. So I was born in Texas, but family moved out here, and I've been out here for the last year and a half, and man, it's going good.
When did your mom and dad move out here? I don't know that actually.
Yeah. So I think mom and dad officially moved out here probably in 2005.
Okay. And you're from the Panhandle.
I'm from the Panhandle of Texas. So I graduated in 2003. My grandparents have been out here in this area for years. They bounced around from Broken Bow to D Queen.
That's the connection.
Down to a little south of here, before Locksburg, Geneva. They're out there in Geneva for a while. So we've always come to this area all the time to see the family. And then my sister moved out here, and then my mom, when she retired, she moved out here.
Okay.
My dad was the over-the-road truck driver, and so he could pretty much be anywhere to call home. And so they set home up here, even though he lived the majority of his time on the road.
Okay.
And then so once I officially retired, the family was here, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to come back here for a little bit. We'll see how long I'm here, but
that's one of the questions I had, which you might not want to answer on this. Are you like settled in, like this is where the roots are going to be, or are you just up for whatever?
I'm still up for whatever. The only commitment that I've made was I was going to be here until my niece graduated.
Oh, okay.
And so she'll be a junior this year.
2 more years.
2 more years.
Yeah.
So when I made the move here, it was with the understanding of I will be here for 3 years. And then from there, it's up to God. Wherever He decides I need to move to or what I need to do next, that's what I'll do.
And that's some people, they like to, lay down roots, and this is home for me. I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
And then some people, Amanda doesn't like this about me. I love home. This will always be home. I was born here, raised here.
Yep.
But the second I turned 18, I was out.
Oh, absolutely.
And I had kids. It changed. I came back. But you know me, I love going.
Yeah.
So I'm gone. Weird times of the year, I'm always out of here doing stuff.
I mean, that's kind of how I was. I joined the military at 18. I left home. And for the next 21 years, the longest period of time I ever came back home to visit was about a month.
Okay.
The rest of the time, I mean, I was constantly gone, and I would go 2 to 3 year period without ever even seeing the family. When I did my overseas tours and stuff, and I would joke with them and tell them, "Hey, I'm living in South Korea right now. I'm not going to come back home. Like if I get my vacation time, I'm going to go travel around over there.
Right.
You're already over there. Might as well island hop and, check things out. And the same when I lived in Germany, I was like, I'm going to go check all of Europe out.
I'm already here. Why not?
Why To me, I mean, I miss family and I love family, but the way technology is, it's great to where I can FaceTime them and I can see and talk to them. But I think because my early deployments, where I didn't have that connection, where, I mean, you understand this. We were talking about this earlier, the MWR,
Oh,
tents,
yeah.
where you have to, wait in line for 2 hours to get a 10-minute conversation on the phone. And, that's what you get. And it's up to you and how long you want to wait in line every day to do that. And so I got very comfortable just talking to them every once in a while and then, go away and kind of do my thing.
Yeah.
So
since you've been back outside of a church context, what's your favorite thing about being back home all the time? Get ready, because I'm going to ask you the opposite of that here in just a second.
I think probably the thing for me that I love the most is getting to work on my land. I got 20 acres of land.
Oh, okay.
That I took over from my grandparents after they passed. And so I remember working on it as a kid, and it's kind of weird. You get to different spots on the land, and you look at different projects, and you're like, man, I remember doing this as a kid. And
that's cool.
So getting to do it now, it's kind of full circle of it's now mine, and I get to take care of it.
It brings back childhood memories when you're working in those certain places.
Yeah.
Is any of the stuff left over on the land from when you were a kid? Like, what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So the first building that was ever put on that land was my granddad's greenhouse.
Okay.
And I helped build that when I was 8 years old.
It's still there.
And it's still there. And the funny thing is, I don't grow anything.
I was going to say, man, what do you grow? Jalapenos, habanero?
Everybody knows I do not have a green thumb. I cannot grow anything to save my life. So I'm in the process of taking his greenhouse and turning into like a cook shack, a little hangout area, because I enjoy cooking. And so I'm going to put my grills out there and have some outdoor patio furniture there and kind of modernize it for an outdoor hanging area when it's raining or something like that.
You going to put a rage room in there?
I mean, that'd be awesome. I mean, we do enjoy rage rooms.
Only a few people that listen to this actually know this. Bobby and I've been to one of those other than the one him and I did. What was it, Friday? It was last Friday.
That's Friday.
Yeah, it was like the 27th, I think, was the Friday, June 27th.
Yeah.
And Bobby and I did a rage room over in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And we got there, and we were just looking for some stuff to do to kill time before the conference started.
I mean, we had the whole afternoon to kill. So we get there, and we were going to go to a place that had different stuff like bowling alleys and whatnot, and it was closed. And they said, well, there's an escape room right down the block over here. So we went to it. We didn't know they'd just opened up a rage room. Right.
So we went through the serial killer escape room.
Which was fun.
Got out with 5 seconds left.
5 seconds spare, baby.
And we made it just like in a movie.
Yep.
And then we went to the rage room, and my shoulder, it's been like only 3 or 4 days. It's just now starting to where I can get my range of motion back.
Yeah.
We used a sledgehammer. What else do we have?
So we had a couple of crowbars, sledgehammer, a baseball bat. And if I wasn't doing physical therapy, I guarantee you my arm would be in the same boat that you are.
Oh,
yeah. So they definitely, the girls over at Peak Therapy definitely worked my shoulder out. On Tuesday to make it better. So.
Is this a weekly appointment you have with them?
I do twice a week.
Okay.
So that's kind of the nice thing about the VA taking care of me.
Oh, that's right. Well, they can work some soreness out.
Oh, absolutely.
The next appointment you have. But yeah, that was cool, man. We was breaking everything. And so we're in this rage room. And as we're doing stuff with these ceramic copiers, TVs, and they said, you're lucky you get all the new stuff. Like it hadn't been hit before.
Right.
And we're getting to just go crazy on it.
Oh, it was fun. So much fun.
And the one thing they had, I noticed, I looked down and I seen a ceramic eagle with the American flag wrapped around it. And for those of you who don't know us or maybe this is the first time listening, you all obviously know Bobby's a veteran, retired Air Force. I was in the Marine Corps. So most of my listeners know that. So we saw that. We're like, nope. And we set it up and he got to watch the show. And then afterwards, the guy told me I could have it, so I took it back home. It's actually at my house. I'm going to put it in my office.
Yeah.
As soon as I can remember to bring it back here. But, yeah, it was a cool experience, man. It was good stuff.
My only concern about that little guy was that he was going to catch a ricochet from one of the glasses flying backwards.
I caught a few ricochets.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, elbow, my legs. I mean, it hurt.
I mean, it was fun, though.
Oh, so fun. Your niece, my daughter, they saw a side of us, and they're like, okay, maybe we couldn't. Because Brielle, she always says, I could take a guy. And for you who don't know Brielle, it's a 16-year-old girl. 16, right? 16. Yeah. She thinks, and she's not big at all. She's very small. And she thinks she can take a full-grown man. She's told me this. She's trying to argue with me about this. And I said, bro, you cannot. If I wanted to hurt you, you would get hurt. It's cool. You put that confidence in her. Like she's got a lot of confidence.
Yeah, no, but I definitely did that. I beat her up all the time as a kid growing up, so that way she would understand life is cruel at times.
Right, yeah.
And be able to handle the toughness that life throws at you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So
yeah, but I think after watching that, she goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I think she got to see a whole new side of real life. So,
and the thing is, we had fun doing it. It wasn't like you had to make us. And I feel like we had to make them. We tried to talk them into doing it.
And they were like, "Oh, I'm not angry. I'm too happy right now."
So that's what makes you happy. It's like an extra level of happiness.
Yeah. They're like, I'm not mad. I got to get mad in order to break something. No, you don't.
No, you do not. That's just that little boy in us coming out.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't touch that. Don't do this.
Yeah.
And all it's like, oh, yeah, boom. And
you're
you
like,
just get to do whatever you want.
Red button. I'm going to hit it.
Yes, exactly. And it is weird when they let you do it because it didn't feel as – not the word naughty. It's just like you're breaking rules. It didn't feel like I was breaking any rules, but I still enjoyed it.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though it wasn't breaking rules. But yeah, that's on my shoulder. So and later that night at the conference, that the worship leader at the end of the night is asking us to raise our hands.
Yes.
I still have a hard time doing it. I think you said you couldn't do it.
Oh, I definitely could not do it. My left shoulder, it was like I raised it up with everybody else. I was like, nope, it's going back down. I can only raise my right arm. That's it right now.
Yeah. Hey, you tried. You did it. You did it. So yeah, that's Bobby. We're going to talk about stuff we've done over the summer. And when I say summer, I'm including, I guess, late spring as well. So they know, if you haven't seen the episodes, by the way, go on our previous episodes. I think it's 2 or 3 back from this one. It's our Malawi report. It's when I'm in Malawi, Africa with Casey and Homer, and we were on our last day of mission work there, and we talk about it for over an hour of everything we did there. So I'm not going to recap that. You guys want a really in-depth report about that, just go a couple episodes back, watch that one, and then fast forward. You wonder why we haven't had any episodes except for that one I did on John 3:16 about 3 or 4 weeks ago. This is why we have been busy.
We've been on the road.
We've been to New Orleans, we've been to Rector, Arkansas. You're like, well, how far is that from DeQueen? So when you have 40 youth and you're headed down to New Orleans, it takes about 8-9 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's a drive. And then when you go to Rector, Arkansas, which is 4 of us, that took about 7 hours or so.
Yeah.
It's a drive. So and when we go there, we don't stay for a day and come back. We've been staying a week in New Orleans and 3 days over in Rector, and I love it. I'm not even complaining.
Oh, not at all. I love it.
But this is why you haven't heard from this podcast. Byron, our schedules are so off. So when I'm free, Byron, if you can tell, this is not Byron.
Not Byron.
He's not Byron. Byron squared. No. Yeah. They have the same letter in their first name. That's about it.
That is about it.
That's all that they have in common. But they do have something else in common. You're brothers in Christ. You go to the same church.
Yes.
So you do have a lot in common. One spirit. But so what we did in New Orleans, Bobby was there for that. It's such a blessing. And I've talked about this in the Almost Brothers podcast with Michael Simmons. If you haven't heard that podcast, I encourage you to go listen to it. Tomorrow is Thursday, July 3rd, and I'm dropping this next Monday. So go to Almost Brothers podcast and watch the one that was dropped on July 3rd. That's the one where Bobby and I went and visited and was on the show with them, and we had a really good time with that.
That was a good podcast, that was for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I'm going to start back. Okay, I'm back from Africa. We're going to go to New Orleans, and Bobby, he's leading one team. Pastor Josh, our lead pastor, he's leading another team, and I'm leading the third team. Well, and if you're doing the actual order, I was the first team, Josh was second, you were third.
I was third, yeah.
Third, yes. So our youth has grown so much, it's not just one team going places. We had to split them in 3 different teams of like 10 and 15 per team.
Which is awesome.
It is awesome.
I mean, that's awesome.
It's amazing. So when we get down there, we're doing different ministries. And what our group was doing, we were doing a VBS the first half of the day at a church called Bell Chase. And the second half of the day, we were at that church and we were painting rooms that they haven't remodeled or done since they said the late 70s or early 80s. And they said it's like you're walking back in time. And it's a big place, but you get up there and I mean, it's bringing back stuff that I didn't know I remembered. It's like, whoa, I was like a toddler when this was a thing, Smells and all of it was coming back.
I mean, looking at the pictures of the church that you guys took, man, that was a massive church.
Yeah. It was a good time though. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They were very loving. It was like I was back at DeQueen. So we fit right in, and so we did that all week. And Bobby's group, they did something very much that I say opposite. Y'all did something similar the first half of the day, but y'all's second half of the days was quite different than ours. The experience that you guys had, but you had the older ones.
I did.
You guys had the juniors and mostly seniors.
Yeah, I think I only had one junior. No, I had two juniors. The rest were all seniors or just graduated.
Yeah. So tell them everything you guys did, experiences, and what sticks out in your mind.
Absolutely. So we were fortunate enough, like Jared said, we had two different groups or two different organizations that we worked with. In the morning, we worked with Bethel House or Bethel Communities, and man, they just have a great mission site there. Where they own a coffee shop, a car dealer, or not car dealer, a car wash, and then a juice bar. And they have snow cones there, which are some of the best snow cones I've ever had.
That's awesome.
And so what they do there is they take in women of addiction or abused relationships, and they help them, one, get clean. Two, a part of the program is they have to do a fellowship and study the word while they're in a 6-month recovery. So it's not just a regular 6-month rehab or 2-month rehab. It is a full 6-month rehab. And while you're there and doing it, they'll provide care for your kids. You will then work at one of the organizations that they own. And then when you're not working, you are expected to be in a Bible study and growing your walk with Christ while you're going through it. So what we did in the mornings were we did a small mini version of a vacation Bible school because we had ranges from 6 months old to 13 years old.
Okay.
And we had probably about 12 kids. And so the first day we didn't know what we were walking into, and it was just like, whew, this is not, we were not prepared. But we did a really good job of coming back together and talking about it and praying and, trying to figure out a better game plan of how to reach these kids and realize like we can't do the traditional Bible school thing. We gotta break it down, do a little more one-on-one with them. And we were able to still do the craft time and do the play time outside with them. But then we were also able to get into a mini lesson.
Is that why they called it VBS?
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Because they said these two teams, VBS. Third team, VBS.
Esque. Because we definitely did not know what we were going to get into. And the coolest thing about this is there's groups that go every week through the summer to go work with them. Yeah. And so these kids get very attached immediately with people that come through. And you say it all the time. They can tell if you're fake or not.
Oh, yeah.
And so we had a few kids that immediately were like, well, hey, where's my friend from last week? We're, looking for this person. So that first day, they're very standoffish and they don't want to talk to you. And they're really sad that their friends aren't there anymore. And then when they get to see the connection that you try to build with them and the love that you pour into these kids, then they open up and they want to be your best friend also. And they'll do things. And our girls did a phenomenal job of connecting with the older girls that were in the group.
That's cool, man.
And so you could tell that those older girls like ran the show, and they were very angry about things. And if they didn't get their way on certain things, they were very, very angry about that. And our girls did a phenomenal job of breaking down those barriers with them and building that relationship and getting them to be a part, that it was okay to play the games. It was okay to sing and dance and do the different things that we're doing.
When you say older girls, how old are the older girls?
So the older girls in the group that were there, they were 13, 14 years old.
Okay. And can you see how that'd be intimidating?
Oh, absolutely.
Our girls, the older juniors, seniors.
Yeah. We had a couple of girls that were 18, the rest of them were 17 years old.
And they got their stuff together. If you're not looking at me, I'm doing quote unquote stuff together.
Yeah.
So if you're from there, you might think that those girls are older. Mm-hmm. They got their stuff together, quote unquote.
Right.
But yeah, they're everywhere.
Right.
They're scatterbrained like crazy.
So, I mean, you get that. But the cool thing about it was when we started actually talking to them about God and, what was their understanding, even, a couple of the 6 or 7 year olds, they knew they're answering questions right away, just boom, 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 boom. And it's like, wow, you're impressed with the knowledge that they have and the understanding that they had with it. So it was every morning we worked with them. It was phenomenal. And one quick story about that is this: in the afternoons we worked with NOLA Missions, and we met this mother with 2 little kids who was going through a hard time. And NOLA Missions, they allow you to stay there for a couple of nights as like a quick, hey, we're going to take you in to get you off the street for a couple of nights and find a place for you to go.
Yeah.
And they sent this woman to Bethel House. And so we see them on Monday and Tuesday, say goodbye to the girls, and, we had a good time hanging out with the girls. And these little girls are probably, one was 3 and the other one was probably like 1. And they formed a quick bond with all of our kids in our group. And so when we leave on Wednesday, we're not expecting to ever see them again. Wednesday morning comes in, and she's walking in with her kids, getting the orientation of what Bethel House is. And, immediately she's like, I got to be next to my kids. I can't let them go with a bunch of strangers. And as soon as she sees us and knows that we're there helping, immediately she was like, okay, my kids can go. And the kids went and ran off and came to play with us.
That's the effect you guys had on them.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was awesome to see. And, her name was Isabel. She's doing a great job of getting her life together and knowing that, she needs to live a godly life for her children. And so she wants to put the work in. And so that was really exciting to see her progression in just the week that we were there, to see that. So once we finished with them every afternoon, like I said, we worked with NOLA Missions, and this place was really cool. They passed out food to the homeless. They took in donations from all over the city, for men, women, sleeping attire, your body works, like whether it be like shampoo, conditioner, all that stuff. Like they had all of the toiletry stuff, all the items in there. And they keep everything separate between guys and females.
Yeah.
And then they have volunteer doctors from Tulane that come in and work. That they're going to school during the day to become doctors.
I've seen that building, the Tulane Medical, facilities.
And so during their afternoon hours, they come over for free, and they will do exams on people to go through. And the other thing about NOLA Missions is, again, they are also very faith-based as well. And if you want to be in the program, you have to go to Bible study. You have to go to church. You have to do these different things. And
this is foundational things.
Absolutely, very foundation. And we worked with 3 different people in there that were main, depending on what project we were working on. But the day that we were passing out food, Darren was in charge of that. And Darren told us a lot of really good things and instructed the youth on how to not have sympathy for the homeless, but have empathy for them.
Right.
And that was a big thing, because even to this day, I still would have sympathy for them of, I feel bad, like, why is this and this and that? And rather than showing sympathy, you got to show them empathy. They know where to go get help. They know that they can go right inside of the mission, but they were the first ones to admit, I know about God. I know I'm doing wrong. I don't want to change my life, and I want to stay right here because I don't want to get right yet. And so you show them the empathy of, I still got love for you, and I'm still going to help you, but here's the home that you really need to go to really get the help you need.
Right.
And so working with them, some afternoons we finished early, and some afternoons, we worked, all the way up until our deadline. But the nice thing about it was when we had our downtimes, instead of just packing it in and going back to the seminary and be like, all right, cool, we're going to go swimming or we're going to go hang out and everything, our kids were so hungry for doing more. And Isaiah was our seminary leader that was with us, and shout out to Isaiah, man. He was Johnny on the spot. He was really good. He was like, well, we can go to the city park and we can just do some prayer walk and maybe do a little bit of evangelizing and just talking to people down at City Park. And so we get to City Park, and Isaiah is very big on everywhere we go, we're going to pray in the vehicle while we're getting there. Yeah. And our kids, just same as I am, you don't like praying in public or praying out loud. And like, I'll pray.
Stuff that makes your heart race and pitter patter.
But you're like, oh man, I'm going to say something wrong, or I'm going to do this wrong. And so you don't want to. I don't want to pray in front of my friend. Like, what if I say something stupid?
Right.
And so you're worried about that. Well, Isaiah was very big on breaking that down. He's like, no, like we're all going to pray. We're going to take turns. We're going to work. We are training. And while we're training, the only way to get better is, by doing repetitions.
Right.
And so we get there that first day at City Park and we break up into, 3 or 4 teams. And there's a adult leader with each kid group as they go, the youth go walking through. And the first day we're kind of timid and we're kind of talking to a few people, but we're not really able to evangelize and get to the gospel aspect of it.
Right.
We're able to, make conversations. Some people know, a lot of people knew about God, but we weren't able to actually get those deep conversations and where they were at.
How do you make that turn?
Yeah. We couldn't really get there. And so the next day, they were all excited. All the youth were really very excited and were like, hey, if we get downtime, can we go do it again? We want to go do this again. And so it was really great to see that they were enthusiastic about it and wanted to do it. And so that second day we did, and we went down to a different part of the city. And this one was the eye-opening one where the drugs were everywhere. There's needles, open needles everywhere. People smoking marijuana everywhere. So we got into this park, and we break off into our teams again, and we start walking around, and we're talking to different people. And there's a center of this park that was in a fenced-in area with like those little police barricades.
Yeah.
And then you have like the elevated platform, and come to find out afterwards, that's blocked off because the police don't go in there. Like that's their free zone area where they can get away with any of the drugs they want to do without getting in trouble, which is very weird to imagine that is okay to do.
And if there's an area like that, I'm sure drugs is the only thing that's getting them that's getting away with.
Yeah. And so all of us didn't know that that's what that was, and we didn't know that we weren't supposed to go in there, but it was highly encouraged that we didn't go in there. But none of us knew that, so immediately, we see people sitting in there, and so we went in, and we're talking to different people. And the coolest thing about being in there in that environment was there was 2 people that my group we were talking to, and they were believers. They were just down on their luck. They weren't doing one of the people we were talking to. He doesn't do drugs. He just goes there, and that's where he gets to talk to different homeless people. So come to find out about him, he was paralyzed from the neck down, and he was sitting in his wheelchair, and he was ready to go lay down in his bed. Well, his brother was busy playing video games and wouldn't pay attention to him. So he's trying to get attention of him, and he's swaying back and forth, trying to fall over into his bed. Well, he falls out of the chair, and when he falls out of the chair, he hits his neck, and it ends up snapping the vertebrae that was broken and knocks it back into alignment. And so he went from being a quadriplegic to where now he had feeling and stuff.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that's where the story was going.
Yeah. So
wow.
he was able to actually start regaining, and he was able to walk and move and stuff again after going through therapy and everything and being able to move. Yeah. But he's a homeless guy, but on his sign, never saying, hey, I need food or, for money for this or, what his sign always says, God is love. And that's his biggest thing is he will always, wherever he's at, working on the street, cleaning windows, cleaning cars, he has his little sign up that says God is love. And he tells everybody he can about God. Wow. And so it was really great to see him and to talk with him and to pray with him. And then as we're all moving through the park, we meet several different people that they're there and they know about God, and they're very strong in their faith, and they're trying to help as well, even though they're homeless and kind of down on their luck, but they know about God and they want to pray with us. And so it was funny that it goes from the very beginning of the week to where, oh man, I can't believe I'm going to touch this homeless person.
Right.
I can't believe we're holding hands, or I can't believe this is happening.
Especially if you're a germaphobe.
Oh, absolutely. To where by the Jared.
Hey, I'm getting better.
To where by the end of the week, we're hugging these people.
Yeah.
We're holding hands.
Yeah.
We're crying together. I mean, they're sharing some stories, and I mean, we're just sitting there and we're crying. They're loving on us. We're loving on them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a matter of, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just touched that person, or I can't believe I just touched this. And I mean, we're hugging each other.
It's the furthest thing from your mind.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And so Wednesday when we go and we're passing out food, I mean, our kids were just running, and they're like, "Oh, I got this person over here. Oh, I got this person over here.
Yeah.
Let me talk and pray with you. Hey, can I pray with you?"
You know what that makes me think of?
What's that?
It makes me think of, the 12:9 ministries. That's from Romans 12:9.
Yeah.
And how that goes, ESV is how I know it, is let love be genuine. Abhor what is evil, hold fast to what is good. That's what it says in Romans 12:9.
Okay.
But let love be genuine. So when you go in there, people can tell if you actually love them or not.
Mm-hmm.
They know if it's real or if it's fake, if it's being forced.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say you're going in there and that third, fourth day,
Yeah.
when they're actually hugging and holding, they know those kids have love for them in their hearts.
Yes.
That's not something that's forced or pushed upon them.
Yeah.
Like it's something that they wanted to do themselves. And we've said it before, people can see fake.
Oh, you can see fake.
That's what made me think.
Yeah. And the funniest thing about it is, so where we have to park to get into NOLA Missions, we're on the street. And the first day we get there, and there's homeless sitting all along the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, tell the kids, hey, any of the belongings you don't want to take inside, make sure it's under the seat. And we're locking the doors. And, we get out and we're like, don't make eye contact. They're,
Right.
And we're
little
just
robots walking around.
We're just going straight into the missions. Like, we're not looking around. We're not talking to anybody. We're just getting in, getting out. To where after Wednesday of passing food out to all these people, and it's the same people that are sitting there where we're parking the car.
Yeah.
And then the last day we're there, as soon as we get there and we pull up, we're saying hi to them. We're high-fiving them. We're talking about, the shoes they're wearing. They're talking about our shirts, because every day we wore different shirts.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're loving all of our different shirts that Jennifer did and made for us. And
this is one of my favorite stories that you guys have. That he's about to tell, this is probably my favorite one.
Yeah. So one of the guys that's working there really loved our Jesus Loves Me shirt. And so Jennifer was able to bring back the next day a Jesus Loves Me shirt for this guy, and he takes pictures, puts it on, so that way he could have that shirt and put it on. And so the last day when we're there and we're walking around and we're passing out the food and we're talking to everybody, there's a couple of people on the street that really loved our shirts, and we were wearing our Waymaker shirt.
Okay, yeah.
And so they really loved our Waymaker shirt, and they're like, hey, you want to trade shirts? And so immediately, first thing I'm thinking of, is one, am I allowed to do this? Like, is Darren going to get mad that I'm changing, trading out shirts real quick? And then secondly, do I really want to put on your sweaty shirt?
Right.
Like I don't really want to put on your sweaty shirt right now.
And they've been sweating in for probably 3 to 5 days.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it smells awful.
And it's humid this time.
It was very
of year.
humid.
We're there in June in New Orleans.
Yes.
So it's hot and humid, and you can use your imagination.
So I'm sitting there, and all these things are flooding through my mind in a matter of like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I also got all the kids around. Like, what kind of example am I setting for them if I say no?
Look at you go, man.
So I'm just thinking about all this. So
Yeah.
I'm like, sure. So we switched shirts. Well, then one of the other guys looks to one of our kids and was like, hey, well, I like your shirt. You want to switch? And without even missing a beat, because he saw that I did it. He was like, absolutely. So he takes off and he switches shirts with this guy.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And so, we traded out our shirts with a couple of people on the street.
Now they're wearing Waymaker shirts with First Baptist Church the Queen on there.
Oh, yeah.
Walking around their homeless community. And
Absolutely.
That's cool, man. Like literally give them the shirt off your back.
Yeah.
And not only, to me it'd be easier just to give them my shirt and then I'll go to the shop and I'll buy one.
Right.
And I'll put it on. That's easier for me to wrap my head around than switch. Now I'm literally wearing your clothes.
Yeah.
You know the old saying, walk a mile in somebody else's shoes.
Yep.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Because
the biggest thing is once you make that decision, if you're going to go ahead and trade shirts, I got to put it on.
Yes.
I don't want to offend you.
Yes.
And not put your shirt on because it's smelly or it's sweaty
right.
or you're kind of dirty. I don't want to put your stuff on. So you gotta very quickly get out of your own human mindset of I can't do this.
Is it genuine or is it not?
Right. And that's the thing is, I genuinely cared for these people.
Yeah.
It was really awesome to get to talk to them and yes, they are down on their luck on a couple of things.
Yeah.
And the group that we traded shirts with, they were one of those I was telling you about that they knew about God. They knew they were doing wrong. but they didn't want to change yet. And so, maybe by us doing that and showing genuine love to them, they will then understand, okay, I do need to change.
Yeah.
And I do need to walk away from what I am doing and come back in.
When I think that, especially teenagers, the older we get, the more we start to at least I would pray, especially as Christians, mature Christians, and even as adults in general, the older we get, the more we can see that people are the same. Like we are not on some special playing field. Mm-hmm. We have advantages that certain don't because the country we're born in or what family we're born into. And a lot of it's stuff we can't help. And some of it is. Some of it's just bad choices that people make and puts them in the gutter. But the teenagers, especially teenagers, a lot of parents will say, I wish they would go so they could see how bad it is, so they could see what all that they have. But I want it to go deeper.
Yes.
Not only to see it, but it's all to see past that and say, these guys are just like me. They're human. They're on the same level I'm on. God sees us equally.
Absolutely.
He sees our souls instead of what we have.
Right.
And that's the materialistic part like you're talking about. It goes away after 2 or 3 days because you're not separating yourselves from them anymore. You're hugging them. You're changing clothes with them.
Right.
And it's like walking into your own house, how you would talk to somebody. They see them that way instead of this big disparity gap, I guess the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
They don't see them for their money or what they don't have. They see them for who God is.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like on a spiritual level.
And the kids got this. It was cool to see them make that transition of seeing that these are all people that God created, and my job is to show them love.
Right.
And my job is to tell as many people about God as I can.
That's right.
And it's, we go on mission trips, and there's groups that you hear of that went on mission trip that never went and saw the ugly, never went and opened themselves up to that kind of reality of the world. To where you and I have seen it, we traveled the world, and there's ugliness out there.
Oh yeah,
and
sure.
And it doesn't matter if it's in DeQueen, Arkansas, or if it's halfway around the world. There's ugliness everywhere.
Everywhere.
And so for the kids to get to see in a controlled environment the ugliness that the world can throw at you, I thought was amazing to see the love and compassion that they had in that, and how ugly the world can be, and that you could see their hearts changing of actually caring for people.
Well, and those people that are in those situations, whether they come from a rich family or they just had bad luck, a rich family made bad choices, whatever it is, they've seen the ugly. The people that live in it, the homeless people, they know ugly, they know evil, they know these things. But like you're saying, we've seen ugly and evil all around the world. We've also seen the love of Jesus all around the world. And those people in those places see that when they see those teenagers coming in there, and the adults like you guys come there and loving on them and talking to them and not degrading them and not looking down on them and, hey, this is yours, man. I don't even care about this stuff.
Yeah.
And just talking to them on a human loving level.
Yes.
And they see it. It's just, it's both. And people can have like a negative, pessimistic view of the world, or you can, I like to keep it balanced. I know it's evil. I know it's bad. It's dark, but it also has Jesus in it, and Jesus is light, and we're the ones called to bring it into it. And you guys were that light going into those places, and they seen it. That's awesome, man. Yeah.
And so one of the best things of seeing how much the kids grew over the week was, like I said at the beginning, Isaiah was making everyone pray as we get to different locations. By the last day, Isaiah, we had 2 vehicles because our group was so large.
Yeah.
And so Isaiah was always in my van for the first 3 days. And then the last day he rode in the other vehicle, so that way he could have more one-on-one time with the other people in that van. And so before we leave to go to our last spot to go evangelize, it's, hey, I want y'all to pray while we're going over there. And immediately as soon as we get in, everybody in the van, they're just taking turns, one after the other, boom. And not even going, okay, who's next? It was immediately like, hey, I'm starting. And then it just went right around the van.
That's awesome.
Without anyone going, hey, you're next. Hey, you're up. Or there wasn't a 10-second pause of, I guess I'll go. It was, everyone was excited, and they're like, okay, I'm praying. Okay, I'm praying.
Yes.
And the only thing, I had to stop them at one point just because we went through construction and we had to actually talk.
Right, yeah.
Because we were going through these little barriers where it was super tight, and I didn't know if the van was going to fit. And luckily, one of the kids had just finished saying their prayer. So I was like, all right, cool, time out. And they're like, we can't time out a prayer. And I was like, well, we're going to have to right now because I don't know if we're going to fit through here. And I need to talk to y'all on the right side of the vehicle to make sure we're going to fit getting through.
Yeah.
So
you can talk to God and each other.
Yeah. So once we got through that little construction zone, they were like, all right, you guys can start praying again. And immediately there wasn't a down. It was the next kid went, the next kid went. So it was pretty awesome to see that they were excited about praying openly out loud without that fear and hesitation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I believe that a willing heart, a willing spirit, God's going to use that. And it's spirit-led. And that's what it sounds like when the other teenager sees the boldness and they like, I know they're dreading it. I mean, there's no other word for it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's just being honest. They're like, oh, man, it's me. What am I going to do? I got to get this. And they start thinking of words to say. Mm-hmm. But if 9 times out of 10, you don't say half the things you think you're going to say in a prayer, and then you realize it's just a conversation. You're just talking to God, and it can be 10 seconds, it can be 5 minutes, it can be whatever it's going to be.
And the cool thing about that is, normally when you're going all in a circle and you're praying, you're like, oh man, the first person just said everything. Okay, what am I? I don't want to repeat what he just said.
Right.
I'm not going to want to repeat what they just said. Like now I'm going to look even stupider because I'm repeating the same thing over and over. Well, there was none of that. It was immediately like one kid prayed for this, and then the next one was like, well, the words just flew. That's and good. No one was repeating the same thing. And I mean, it was just, you could see that God had worked through them and gave them the boldness of being able to pray for what we were about to go do.
Well, it's like when Josh was talking about a couple of Sundays ago about how the apostles prayed for boldness. They could have prayed for anything else, but they prayed for boldness. And you guys, and I love Sunday school room settings. I'm not knocking it when I say this, but it's one thing to be in a Sunday school room and you pray and then you leave, which is awesome. I'm not knocking that. And then when you're going to like a spiritual battle, there's warfare. Like I'm about to go up against the enemy, the Satan and his demons. And I'm not talking about the people being demons, but that spiritual battle trying to keep you from getting there. Yeah. Fear, anxiety, all these other things and thoughts and just setting things up in place to make you not want to go to that place to evangelize and talk about Jesus. So you're going up against this stuff. And I think in those situations when you pray for boldness and stuff, God knows what's coming, and he's going to give you the words to say, when to say it, how to say it, and
he's going to arm you with the armor of God.
Right, exactly. And when you're praying with all the other believers, something might come to your mind and it comes out, kind of like when Tyler was saying that when I was praying about my nerves. And it's not for you. It's like, man, I don't even care. It didn't even matter how you sounded. Somebody in that circle needed to hear that, and God knew it, so it came out.
Yes,
it wasn't you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I truly believe that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about the VBS guys just for a second.
Yes.
But before I do, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
I like it.
Are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be back in a second. All right, so this is the commercial. So I'm Jared Morphew, obviously. I'm the associate pastor and youth pastor here at First Baptist Church DeQueen. We would love to have you here. Can you tell them what times we start on Sunday morning?
Yeah, so we have the worship service starts at 9:30, and then we have small groups that go from 11 to 12. And we have all ages for the small group. We got the nursery, we got little kids, and we got your 20-year-olds, you got your middle adults, and we got a couple of old people classes.
Old people?
Old people. I give my mom a hard time about
elder
that.
Classes?
Yeah.
Senior class.
So my mom will get a joke out of that one because I call them old. But yeah, no, we have the senior adults, which is funny when we do senior high school, senior adults, like which seniors are we talking about? But yeah, we have all that options.
Yeah, it's awesome. And if you want our phone number to our offices, it's 870-642-2151. And our address here, so you'll know how to get here, is 1535 West Colin Ray Drive, DeQueen, Arkansas, 71832. So if you want to call our offices or need an address to get here, it's also on our Facebook page and on our website at www.firstbaptistchurchdequeen.com. You can go there and see all of our stuff, our staff, what we have to offer, the sermons from past sermons and things like that. We have a YouTube channel. Most social media outlets, we have that as well. So we hope to see you Sunday morning at 9:30. So what we were talking about before we invited everybody to church was, so what you guys were experiencing in New Orleans, And on our end with the VBSs, I know Josh, our lead pastor, his group, that was mainly the junior high.
Yep.
Was his group, and they did awesome. They did a really fantastic job with the VBS down there. They were doing it at a place called I'm trying to remember. I think it was No. It was Calvary Baptist Church in New Orleans. That's what it was. So they were there, and they led. It was either 3 or 5. I wanted to say 3, but it may have been 5. And it wasn't the adults; it was the teenagers. It
was the teenagers, yeah.
Led at least 3 I know of those kids from the New Orleans area to Jesus, and they wanted to be a Christian.
Yep.
And it was awesome. They got down on their knees and they prayed with them and led them to Jesus, and they were so excited. And our teenagers were so excited. So it's like that fire, man. It's just getting stoked.
I think one of the best stories about that group, because every night we'd get back and we would share. Because we're all separated all day.
Yeah.
So after worship service, we would get together as a large group, and we would break it up into the 3 teams, and each team talk about your day. Mm-hmm. And I think one of my favorite stories that I heard out of Team 2 was one of the little boys that he got saved, and he was really excited about wanting to tell his dad that he got saved. And so. The youth kids are sitting there waiting with him for his dad to pick him up, and his dad's in a conversation with another adult. So the kids kind of just, hey, you guys just wait, hang on, I'm in this conversation, and so they're kind of like, oh man, is the dad gonna get mad now? Like this other, how is he gonna be? And so when the dad finished his conversation, he turned to the little boy and was like, hey, what's up? And the little boy tells him, hey, Dad, I got saved today, and, I believe in God, and, and this happened. And for the kids to tell us, the youth kids to tell us the excitement and the joy that the dad had, picked him up and swung him around and, just give him that big old hug.
That's awesome.
I mean, that was one of the best stories I really took away from Team 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that was... I would have loved to have seen that reaction.
Yes, and I could feel the nerves in the store when they were telling it about the dad. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You don't know how he's going to react.
Yep.
And the fact that he was so happy, and the boy feels the acceptance with his parents of being saved, and I think that also works in that family unit as well when they get back home.
Absolutely.
And what they're doing in New Orleans. That's what I was going to say when you were talking about. They noticed you when you went to a certain place, and they're like, oh, this is a safe place. Or those places like Bethel, or the churches that they're going in those communities, they go in there weekly, if not every other week in these places. It's like when we went evangelizing, there was an atheist who used to be Catholic, and he recognized Michael, one of the guys that was helping lead us, one of the students at the seminary.
Yep.
He recognized Michael, and Michael sat down and talked to him for like 30 minutes, and they had discussions about why God's real versus why he's not real. And he was open to it. They joked, and they had built that relationship just by meeting each other. And you could see, you can tell when somebody knows somebody.
Right, yeah.
And they're working it, man. Like that's their field. Like they are out there putting the work in every day. That's where they're planted. And I like the fact that they have people coming in every other week, if not every week during the summer like us, to help them out.
Help them, yeah.
Yes, that's a workload. They can't do all those VBSs and cover all this ground by themselves.
Right.
So I see the need for other teams to come in and help contribute to that. But it's awesome on their end that they're so faithful with what they do.
Yes. Because, we were talking about this with the kids. One of the biggest things about this is it doesn't matter if you're the one that's planting the seed, if you're the one that's watering the seed, or if you're the one that gets the benefit of reaping the growth and the harvest of the seed.
Right.
We don't know where we're going to be at in those phases.
Yeah.
Our job is just to pour into people and let God do his thing. And, the more that we tell people about God and the more that we show them love, it's going to be maybe this moment is the moment where they're like, hey, I believe in God now.
I've been on both ends of it. I feel like I have.
Yeah.
I've been on the side where it's somebody that I've led to Christ where people go, what? Like, who?
Yeah.
And then you tell them who, and it's, wow. And then you might see them that next Sunday morning. You might not.
Right.
But it's the fact that they were open and they wanted to be saved. And then I've been on the other end of it where they look at you like you're the scum of the earth and they want nothing to do with you.
Right.
And they say, yeah, I knew you were a Christian by that hat you're wearing and that ministry shirt. I've tried Jesus. And this actually happened to me, by the way, me and Bella, when we were evangelizing my daughter. And there was a lady and she said, I've tried Jesus And actually, I'm a lot happier without him. So thanks, but no thanks. And she had a teenage boy with him or with her, and it was her son. And he said, but it was a very good thing that you're doing. Like, he was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
And he was open to it. And I thought, I'm not going to say what I want to say about her, but she is leading him down the wrong path.
The wrong path, yeah.
And I don't know. That's a whole sermon in of itself.
Oh, absolutely.
But the fact that she was against, but we didn't get flustered or anything. It's like, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
You must not have, you haven't encountered the real Jesus in Scripture. As if you have, you wouldn't have the attitude towards him that you do right now.
Right.
And that, you could tell it's lit a fire, and she was done. Like, yep. And she just left.
Yeah.
And the boy just goes, bye. Like,
bye.
And he leaves. And I'm like, man, and everybody thinks, oh, he's just, and atheists would say this, she's right. He's just a gullible boy because he's young.
Just because he's young.
Oh, no, that's not it at all. There are people that have spent decades and decades in studying the Bible and the original languages and things like that are 10 times smarter than this atheist guy that knows more about God and the universe than the actual people that studied it. They don't know it.
Right.
Not going there, but it's that seed that was planted. Because we tried to share it, and maybe she thought about that night. I don't know. Maybe it hardened her heart more. I don't know. So I feel like I've been on both ends of it.
And maybe she doesn't, but he did. You know?
Right, yes.
You got to see how you interacted. You got to see that you weren't hostile back to her. He got to see that y'all were still showing love to her, and then he got to see the love of that. So that seed is still planted for him, too.
Yeah, and you can sense it, a hateful spirit. I mean, there's no sense it. There was no sensing. It was very open. Like, they were very, I don't know what the word is for it. They were very open. She was. And I know he knows that, and she obviously has no issue showing that side of herself to others, so he's probably seen that before. Yeah. But I don't know how many Christians he's seen interact. Now, that's the thing I don't know, but I do know he didn't see that from us. He's seen a loving, caring, kind spirit that just wanted the best for him. And
absolutely.
Just hated that they felt that way. But, yeah, the VBS teams and our VBS was awesome. We didn't get to be there for the last day because we left Friday morning, and their last day of VBS, that's when a lot of the kids will make decisions and stuff like that. So we didn't get to see that. Right. But the Pastor Brian, he was thanking us for everything that we've done, and he was awesome. I would love to go back there again if we go back to New Orleans. But it was just a great week. We got to make a lot of good connections in there. I still have their numbers and stuff like that. Yeah. There was a lady, her name was Sandra. She was from Eastern Europe, and I'm not even going to attempt her accent because I would butcher it. It would not be good. Yeah. But she was awesome. Did an amazing job on crafts. And this is the joke. I think you've heard me say it, but me, Ty Collier, he's a 12th grader. He's a senior that just graduated. Landon Marable, another senior that had just graduated. So it's me, Ty, and Landon. They put us in crafts. I don't know. That was the last thing left, so we get in there. Yeah. And we'd put up the tables, and what our job was putting paint on the kids' hands, and they would put this background is a green screen, by the way. What you're seeing, this cool room, it's not really here. What me and him are looking at right now is a green cloth. Sheet, green sheet. But anyways, they had a cutout of a butterfly. It would put the kids would put their hand on it, mash it in, and then a little hand would be on there. So there's all these hands on this cutout of a butterfly, and there was the kids, the colors. So if you didn't know it, I'm colorblind. I didn't know Ty was. So I asked Ty what color that was, and he looked at me and he goes, I don't know. And he said, well, you tell me. And then we looked at Landon, and then Landon, he told us, and then I got frustrated. I said, why would they put two colorblind guys in the crafts, the arts and crafts? We don't know what it is. And I said, just have the kids point out, what color do you want, and make them point at it. But it was fun. We did have a good time. Yeah. And Ty, we call him baby hands. He's got really small hands.
He does have really small hands.
It's funny because when they told us, you're part of it. Put yours on there too. So we painted our hands. We slapped them on there. And I'm not making this up. There was a third grade girl who had a bigger hand than him. And I said, which one do you think is Ty's? And they didn't know. I was like, oh my gosh, it blends right in with the kids. Sorry, Ty, if you're watching this. But it's open. We make fun of him out in the open with absolutely. It. So he's cool with it. But that's just it. And I told him, I said, guys, when you go in there in the VBSs, it's not like, oh, I'm just going into a VBS. We're not making a difference. Like I said, Team 2 led 3 to 5 kids to Christ. Mm-hmm. The ones we were with, like I said, you be the best version of you. And even if you got to be a fake you're super nice, energetic, and you're not going to be, by the third day, you know this, you're not going to be feeling it. You're tired. Yeah. You're wore out. You've been doing more than just that VBS that day. You're there all day doing stuff, waking up super early to go out again and again and again. Mm-hmm. And by that third day, I could feel it. Ty could feel it. And I said, guys, this is what I was talking about. We gotta amp it up. It's for the kids. And they come in there, they're excited to see us. I'm like, what's up, buddy? Like just talking to them, getting it going. And then I catch myself getting in a good mood.
Oh, absolutely.
Just from doing that.
Yeah.
But man, it's a work, but it's a good work.
Oh, absolutely.
It's such a good work.
Yes.
Do you got anything else you want to talk about in New Orleans?
I would say just the last thing. So I had told the youth this on the last night we were there, when we all, shared our experiences from the week and what were some of the takeaways that we had from it. In most youth trips you go on, as a adult sponsor, you're really just there to supervise the kids, and it's all about the kids. And there's a lot of times on these trips you get caught in that atmosphere of, I'm not getting anything out of this myself. Like, I'm just here to get you from point A to point B and make sure you stay on schedule. And you guys are the ones that are going to grow your walk with Christ. And you're the ones that are going to, get all these benefits out of this. And your spirit's going to be filled. And you're going to be on that spiritual high when you come back from the trip. And I told the youth, I said, as much as this trip was for you, this was for me as well. I feel like I got way more than I ever expected to out of this trip. From the sermons every night, which, oh man, they were. It was like one-on-one conversations. Like, Bobby, this is what you need right now. Like, you are here, and this is where you need to get. Like, that's how I felt. Every sermon was every night.
I got notes on my phone from them. They're very good sermons.
I had a notebook, and I'm not big on taking notes during sermons, but I was like, hey, I'm going to set an example for the kids. I want them to be a part and pay attention, because they're always watching you. What you're doing is what they're going to replicate. And I found very quickly, especially on that first night, like it was more about me, and I stopped worrying about, are the kids going to get something out of this, or what are they going to perceive? And it was very much that whole week was God was talking to me and showing me where I need to grow and avenues I need to work on. And from the singing to the sermons to the evangelizing, I felt like the whole week it was just overwhelming.
Yeah.
So that was the greatest aspect of the trip for me. Was not only was it great to see the kids grow, but I grew as well.
Yeah, you wasn't just a babysitter.
Yes, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So
it was, and that's what I try to tell the youth. And youth camp can feel that way, especially for me. I know you're a little bit ahead of me, but I'll be 40 in a month.
Yeah.
I'm not far behind you at all.
No.
You turned 40 a few months ago?
Yeah, back in April.
Okay, yeah. So we're right there. So
just a couple months ago. Yeah.
I'm not a spring chicken. I'm not old. I know that, but I'm not a spring chicken. I'm not in my early 20s that I enjoy some of the things that they enjoy, or the fact that I can keep up with them sometimes physically. Yeah. Even though I might look like I'm in good shape, which I am somewhat, but not running and endurance and stuff. I'm not.
Yeah.
But I go to youth camp and I feel myself, and that's what I tell them: prepare your heart and be expecting something great. Don't go into it with the mindset of, oh, I'm just going to be a babysitter. Oh, I'm just going to, like you said, point A to point B, taking them there, making sure they don't fight, making sure they don't do this, making sure they don't go off in the woods together. And I'm just a referee all week. And if you go into it expecting God to move and see it and expect something for yourself, and God just showed me something this week, you will see it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you look for the bad in something, you're going to find it. If you look for the good in something, you're going to find it.
You're going to find it.
A place, a person, whatever. I mean, you know this. So I try to go into it with that mindset. I'm not a babysitter. I'm not a supervisor. And I do those things that little bit here and there.
Right.
But the overall thing is a spiritual leader, spiritual guide. And I'm there for them, and they can tell if you don't want to be there.
Right.
They can 1,000% tell Jared doesn't want to be here right now. And I may have put that off from time to time the last 4 years. Who knows? But I try my best to try to get my mindset ready for what's about to happen. It may not. I may go in there and say, "Oh, this is not for me. This is 100% for them." And if I go there, that's selfish.
Right.
But yeah, youth camp's a big one for me like that, and especially now. The first couple of years I didn't know what to expect, but now that I do, I know what's coming, and I know the craziness that comes with it, and you just got to prepare and get there spiritually and mentally, like for a Sunday morning.
And I think one of the nice things about anytime you're studying God's Word, you're going to get something out of it.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if the speaker that's presenting the sermon has it as a kid level or to an adult level. There's still something you're going to get out of it.
Yes.
Whether the parable they're talking about, you get to hear it from a different point of view, or they bring up different topics for you to think about, and you're like, ooh, I never thought about that one before. Or, I never thought about it that way. Or, I've never sat here and got to see this, and like the different scriptures that are always there. When you read it one time, you're like, man, this is the main point. And then you read it again and you're like, oh, what this one right here was the main. You're like, this is jumping at me right now.
Yes.
And so that's the one thing I love about reading God's word is you're never going to get the same thing out of it every time. You're always going to get something different, and it's always going to give you what you need at that moment.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I love about it. And I think you go in with that mindset of I'm at a youth camp, but when we go to a service, it's an all camp.
Yes. Yes.
It's all of us right now. We are serving and worshiping the Lord.
Yes.
And we're all singing together, we're praising together, we're praying together, we're studying the word together.
Yes.
And everybody's going to get something out of it.
It's not a sit still, it's a get deep. Go deeper.
Yes.
Like this past Sunday, we were talking about the woman that the Sanhedrin drug, and it was a Jewish, I don't know, it was either the Sanhedrin or it was guys that the Sanhedrin had got to get the woman caught in adultery, brought her in front of everybody. You know what I'm talking about? Where Jesus writes something saying they don't say what it is, and he hands them a stone and says, you with no sin cast the first stone.
Cast the first stone.
So we went over that, and that's pretty simple. I've heard this one my whole life.
Yeah.
But something happened in that study, and so all morning that was what I was going to study. It turned into that being the first half, and the second half being about David, because there was a parallel there that I'd never seen before, and it was deep, and it was something so deep that, and not so deep. Some people be like, "Yeah, I knew that, Jared." Well, for me, it was
right,
and I knew. Well, can't say 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that they had never seen it that way either.
Right.
So what it was, David, he had an affair with Bathsheba, killed Uriah the Hittite, and then he covers it up. Well, then Nathan the prophet, God reveals, because he's God's prophet, so he knew what David had done.
Right.
So he tells him this story about a poor man and his lamb. He loves this lamb, and he pets it. It's his favorite lamb. And then there's a rich man who had some travelers come in. Instead of getting one of the thousands of lambs that he had, he went and took it from the poor man.
Yep.
And David heard this story, and he said about how the rich man was going to pay 4 times or 5 times, or 4 lambs or 5 lambs, or the price worth. I can't remember off the top of my head. But he was angry. David was mad. And then David points his finger at him and says, "You are the man." Because he was the one, that guy because of everything you've done. And what we had, the parallel there is when the Sanhedrin is sitting there, what are you going to do about this, Jesus? What about this woman? It's like, that's you.
Yeah.
You have that heart. Like, you have just as evil and wicked a heart as she does.
Yes.
If not worse. You are the man. Like, that is you, and you're pointing at her. So it's that right there. Dude, I got goosebumps when I read that, and I thought, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Like, we always want to pull people out in front and say, get them. That's them when we're that person.
We're that person.
I'm not going to start preaching.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that was just from a small little Sunday school lesson with teenagers about a story I'd heard my whole life. And it's, do you go into it with that mindset of this is going to be easy, simple. I'll just do it on a elementary level so they can all get it. Check the box. I'm out on Sunday morning.
Right.
Or do we go deeper? And I thought, I'm going to go deep like as I can go. Like I would be doing an adult's classroom, trying to hit every level. And they're not stupid. The youth, they got that. They understood that lesson.
Yeah.
And so if you're listening to this and you teach youth, don't ever be afraid to go deep or to teach them I keep saying the word deep, a more complicated lesson.
Yeah.
They do.
Go further in depth with them. Because a lot of times, even when we're just having conversations and it's either before the service or after the service and we're just having conversations, some of the questions they ask you are deep questions.
Yes.
And you're like, man, I haven't thought about that one. Ooh, hang on. Let me put on my adult brain real quick to try to figure this out.
I'll get back with you. I've had to say that. I really
absolutely. I actually had to say that to Bo the other day. I'm like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah, I know there's certain ones when they start to come up to me, I know either I'm not going to know it or it's going to be one of those issues or topics where it's more my opinion than what I actually know.
No, yeah.
And I know it's coming, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes it is something that I actually think I know.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, and I love that though. I want them to ask those questions because then I have to think. I got to go research it.
Right.
So if somebody asks me again, I'm like, I got you.
Yeah.
This guy done put me through the ringer with questions. I'm
No,
a lot
absolutely.
better now for it.
Yeah.
But
And I mean, I told the guys this, man, it was probably a couple of months ago. So when I was in the Air Force, I was an instructor. And I used to tell my students all the time when I was instructing them, I want you to ask me those questions.
Right.
I want you to challenge me in, the different tactics that I'm teaching you because it makes me stay on top of current events. It makes me stay on top of my skills to make sure that I'm teaching you what's current and what's best.
Yes.
And the same thing applies to the youth when you're studying God's Word. I want you to ask me those questions.
Yes.
Because it forces me to do my own homework. It forces me to have to stay in the Word and to be able to stay sharp with what's there. We talk all the time, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
And so, with them challenging you and asking those tough questions and those deep, thoughtful, questions about the Bible and Scripture, as an adult, it forces you to not rely on the Sunday school answer that you knew your whole life.
Yes.
But I've got to go back and I've actually got to research that. I've got to study it.
Yes. And like you were saying, you want them to challenge you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say this to anybody. I'd say this to youth, adults, elders. I'd tell you this, be leery of people who get offended, they get mad, and when it comes across as a challenge or you have a genuine question, how dare you question me? You think I don't know? And then they push you aside. That I'm leery of that.
Yeah.
I love it when people are open to it. Let's look that up. Let's look into that. I can ask Josh anything. I know it's not going to Josh, our lead pastor. I know he's not going to get offended. He's not going to get mad or think I'm doing it even if it is in a try to get you moment.
Yeah.
Don't be offended or anything. Especially I'm leery of churches that they teach a certain way, and if you question or go against it, it's knives out. Like there's no.
Yeah. And that ties into what we just talked about up in Rector, the whole unity.
Yes.
And that's why that's such a big thing of making sure that we do have unity because we are one believers in the body of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And people get so offended so quickly on, well, you're a Baptist and you're a Protestant and you're this and you're that. And why?
Yeah.
I believe, in God the Father, that he sent his son, Jesus Christ, to come onto earth, die for all my sins, rose again, and now I'm going to have eternal life because I believe in him.
Mm-hmm. It's that
You
simple.
believe the same thing.
It's that simple.
So why are we going to have beef and differentiate with what's happening in our faith when we all believe the same core thing?
Right.
Like that's the core aspect of it. If we believe that Jesus rose again and we have eternal life because of that, then why are we arguing about different things?
Remember, I tore about 3/4 of the way through my sermon, and it's just one reason that's possible, but I think it's at the root of everything is pride.
Pride.
Yeah.
Pride.
That's just me.
It always is pride. Because we're human. Yeah. Our human nature is pride.
Yes.
We're always going to fall back on our human nature of pride and jealousy and never admitting that we are wrong. And so you offend me over the smallest of details, and immediately my pride tells me I cannot be friends with you anymore. I cannot forgive you. But God tells us all the time.
Or even like I think it's Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. I'm 90% sure that's the right place where it talks about doing nothing out of selfish ambition. And that's a form of pride, I guess, but what you want is selfish. I want this. I want that kind of paint in the sanctuary. And that's the battle line. It's like, what the battle line should be the gospel. Like this is what Jesus says saves us.
Yeah.
That those pews, those seats, that gymnasium, the way that the sanctuary's set up, whatever. You can
the time we have worship.
Right.
We do worship before Sunday school instead of after Sunday school.
Right, yes. It's all these little minute details that we could vote on. And majority rule's done.
Right.
That's it.
And Josh tells us all the time, all about Jesus.
Yes, that's all that should
matter.
Our
focus should only be on Jesus.
Yes.
And so if we're not focusing on Jesus, then why are we focusing on it?
Pride, selfish ambition,
exactly.
Things like that. It just rounds right back to it. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what I think I ended it. One of the things I ended it with on Friday night was, it's one of the things that you will see immediately that stands out to you in a church is unity. If you see it, you feel when you come in. But also on the other side of the coin, that's something you see as division, and that is a problem. When they walk in, they can feel, you'll know it. You know it's one or the other when you go into it. And sometimes people fake it pretty good, but if you go there enough times, you'll see it.
Yeah. And I think
I said, love be genuine.
Yeah. So that's when we walked into Rector, into the First General Baptist Church there, in the sanctuary, you're in your 1990s grandma's church. Hasn't changed. It still has the wood paneling on the side, red carpet down the middle.
Part of me loves that because that's what I grew up in.
Right. No, absolutely.
You got the home.
You got the vaulted ceilings with, the wood panel everywhere. And,
absolutely.
I mean, it reminded me of my childhood. It really did. And so you see that. And when you start going into some of these churches, you can see, like you were talking about, am I going to feel love or am I going to feel the divide? When everyone's sitting there and we're all sitting in our assigned seats because heaven forbid someone sits in my seat and I got to sit somewhere else, if I could walk in for the first time, we all have that assumption of you got to wear your Sunday best to go to church. You got to act this way when you go to church. You got to do this and when you go to church. Where
put on the mask.
We need you to come to church. And once you come to church, now we need to be the voice of God and tell them the gospel.
Yeah.
To get you to get right with God.
Yes, absolutely.
And if me being offended by what you were wearing walking into the church or by the way that where you were sitting why are you sitting in the front row? You don't belong here.
Right. See how that sounds? You don't belong here.
Yeah.
Even though they're talking about the seat.
Yeah.
That's
how it sounds.
Ooh.
Yeah. You've been to church one time. You've been at this church. You're visiting somebody. So you come in and you go and you don't really know where to sit. And so you just walk up to the front and sit because you want to be closer to the stage and to hear the music better and to hear the speaking better because you can't hear that well. And so you're sitting to where you can hear God's word the best. And someone gets offended because you're not sitting where you're supposed to sit. Even if no one ever sits there.
Right.
Hey, no one sits there. You're now blocking me from 5 rows back. Like, you need to move back over here.
Right. It's not a concert.
Yeah.
You didn't pay for those seats.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Know what I'm
saying? But when I walked in there, it was after we had gotten settled in and everything. It was right before service started. You weren't in there. Burrell wasn't there. I don't remember. I was in there by myself in the sanctuary before it started for some reason there for just a minute.
Yeah.
And you remember how we went from that second pew to the front pew?
To the front pew.
Well, I asked him. I turned around. I was like, whose stuff? Because it was our stuff mixed with somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Tyler, Liv, and a couple other guys goes, do whatever you want, man.
Yeah.
Push it down. I said, whose is it? And he said, some of it's mine, and I don't know who's the others, but it's okay.
It's okay.
I looked around. The other people are going, thumbs up, like, yeah, man, move it wherever you want to move it. It's all you.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's so cool. But in my mind, I'm too nice. I'm like, it's okay. I get my stuff and I go to the front pew where I know there's nothing at. But there was one thing there, and Michael said, that's mine, man. Just move it down.
Just move it down.
So I did. But the fact was, it wasn't awkward or like I'm actually moving on somebody's territory. They were just whatever. Hey, push it wherever you want to put my stuff. That's where I'll sit. That's what they were telling me.
Exactly.
And I'm the nice guy. It's like, no, you first. No, you first.
Yeah.
No, you first.
No, you were sitting here first. Yeah.
That's what it ended up being. But that was awesome. And I got that vibe from when I stepped into the church to when I left.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I liked the most about I was moving to the front row. And one of the things that I liked about how they did that service that night was when the music started, everyone left their seats.
Yes, I noticed that.
We weren't staying in the pews. We weren't staying confined. It was like you were at a concert. And we opened up to the stage, and everyone came to the stage, and we're all sitting right there and standing right there in front.
Adults and teenagers is mixed.
We're all mixed together right there in the front, and we went through the singing and the worshiping, and it wasn't, okay, well, I'm here. Like, oh, I don't know who you are. I can't go stand next to you. We were all intertwined.
Yes.
And then, afterwards, it was like, okay, well, now we're going to go back to our seats. No big deal. But
we knew them all of what, 30 minutes?
30 minutes.
And we didn't talk to half of them.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, it was just so cool to see that the majority of the church did that.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the youth, or it wasn't just Michael's family. It was everybody came up. And yeah, I'm sure some of the little kids did it because the older kids were doing it and they want to be a part of it.
Though.
But it's great.
Yes.
Because you get to see they're watching how they worship.
Yes.
And so they see it's okay to come out to the front and to experience and to let yourself go, to raise your hands, to sway, to hold hands.
Yes.
You know, at the end, we're all holding hands.
Right.
After it's over and we're going through the last song. I think the last one was Gratitude, but we're sitting there, and you know, people over here are holding hands, people over here are holding hands, and I mean, we're just all together and swaying back and forth, and it was awesome. I mean, that's the way it should be.
Well, and as a guy that's about to preach, it helps so much because you're not nervous, and I know every preacher's different, but for me, I wasn't nervous thinking it's a hostile environment.
Right.
There's people that are going to be judging. There's somebody that might yell at you or whatever. It's an environment of we're ready, man. Like you could feel the anticipation. They couldn't wait to hear the word of God, and that songs and us being up there, it was just opening the hearts and getting the minds ready and preparing and laying down the foundation of what's about to happen. And when I got up there, it was, and that's the coolest thing about being a pastor. There's a lot of things that are really cool. I can't say that. This ain't the coolest thing. I take it back. This is not the coolest thing. Here's a cool thing.
One of the cool things about being a pastor
is when you look out and you can see all the eyes, and they're on you, which makes you nervous. But the cool part is you get to see the hunger in their eyes.
Yes.
And when you say a truth that you know is from the Bible, and it is brought to their eyes for the first time, and you can see that. I don't know, just that understanding of, it's almost a thankfulness in their eyes when they're looking at you.
And the cool thing about while we were there, you know, there's some churches you sit in, and while, you know, people are preaching, you can't say amen. You can't say, that's right. You can't say, you know, whatever, you know, you're led to say. And there's some times where I've been in churches where I kind of felt like that was just too much and like it was fake and not genuine.
I can't hear the preacher.
Like it wasn't wasn't genuine.
I got you.
That night was genuine.
Yes.
Every time, you know, you hit on a point, it was amen or oh man, yes, preach. You know, because you were hitting the points that everyone needed to hear. And I mean, we talked about this when you got off stage. You thought it was, you know, 25, 30-minute long speech.
I know, dude. I know. I told them when I got up there, you know, I timed my sermons, and this one's going to be about 25 minutes, and I don't want to have a bunch of filler in there. And how long was I up there?
You were up there for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And the only reason we knew that was because we happened to look down at our watch, and when we
After it was all over.
Yeah. And it was after 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we were like, what?
Oh, yeah. And I wanted to get the microphone to apologize.
But the cool thing about it is I felt it. The girls felt it.
Yeah.
Everyone we talked to didn't mind. We felt like right now, like we're just talking. And time flew by. Yeah. And no one was like checking their watch going, hey, I'm hungry. I need to go eat. Hey, Mr. Preacher Man, you're going a little past time now. Like, I need to get moving along.
Well, I didn't get that vibe. Being up on the stage, it was everybody was engaged.
And sitting in the audience, even though we were in the front row, so you can't really see behind you. Yeah. But the presence we felt.
Yeah.
We felt God moving in that place.
Yeah.
We felt the presence of God was everywhere. And it was everything you were saying was everything that God told you needs to be. Jared, you need to say this right now.
Right.
Like, we're not leaving this room
until it's all there. Said. And it was. I told you that in the hallway when we're leaving. It's like, dude, I had nothing else left to say.
Yeah.
That's crazy for me to say because I can talk a long time. Right. I said, I don't have anything left.
Yeah.
And I don't mean energy-wise, like in that department of what I was teaching and preaching on, I didn't have anything left. Could I have went back and studied more and did more? Yes. But in that moment, I'm done. Like there's no more rabbits. There's nothing.
Yeah.
And it's what God wanted to come out.
And it's everything that we needed to hear. And it was great that a couple of our youth got to hear it.
Yeah.
And it was great that they got to be a part of that environment to see what yes, our youth is growing.
Yeah.
And it's good for them to be a part of our youth growing.
Yeah.
But for them to get to see a growing church from what it went from to what it is right now in a few short months,
Yeah.
to get to see a growing church and what God's presence in an area looks like.
Yeah.
For them to get to see that, it was great. And I mean, the whole weekend was phenomenal.
You're right. I didn't even think about that. When we started the youth group here, it was like 5 to 15, 10 averaging.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a bad thing. Hey, I'll take 10 all day. True, down for the
Right.
cause.
Yep.
Over 500 that could care less. I'm that guy. Before I even say what I'm about to say, I want to preface it with that's who I am. I'm not about numbers whatsoever. I don't gauge success off of numbers, but I can see God moving. And I always pray before it starts happening, God, if it's going to be more people, please give me more help. And I got to a certain point around 30 where I thought, if it's any more, I don't know how I'm going to do it without, and I have help, don't get me wrong, but it's a consistent help, I guess.
Right.
And you came along about 2 or 3 months ago, and that's when it started going up to 40, 50, almost 60 on Wednesday nights during the end of the school year there. And you started getting plugged into all the events that we're doing, and it balanced. I could feel it, and I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord. And I'm not, no pressure. It has helped me out a lot. And I know it's God. It's not me.
Yeah.
I would preach at one person in a room just as hard as I would preach at 1,000 people in a room. My nerves might be a little bit different, but the message is going to be the same.
It's going to be the same.
I'm not going to back off of it just because of that.
Yeah.
But I like the fact they got to see, okay, going back to that youth group, 5, 10, and they was here the whole time. Bell and Braille's been here the entire time from day one since I got in here. Now, like I said, that 40, 50, so they've seen a youth group grow and it be healthy, and we're learning together, we're growing together, we're experiencing new things and getting out of our comfort zone. Now they've seen it in a congregational entire church context in a different place that they've never been. And they've heard the stories about how it was down to 60, 50 congregants, and now it's back up to 170, and everybody's excited, and they can see the change, and they go in there and they see people stand up with their hands in the air, and it's adults. It's not just, and I'm not downing a bunch of teenagers when I say this, but it's all ages, adults. There's people in their 60s, 70s up there doing the same thing that 10-year-old, that 17-year-old's doing. And they're watching this, and it's like, okay, this isn't just a youth thing. This is a church thing. This is God's people thing.
Yep.
That's cool. I mean, that they got to see that.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of times in a church environment, you will see when we go to like a winter jam, or you go to.
Can you tell people what winter jam is? I don't know.
So winter jam is a Christian concert where you bring in, I think, like 6 or 7 different artists and bands, and it's basically, I would say, like a 5-hour worship session.
Yeah.
Where you're hearing songs that are on the radio that everybody knows. You're hearing praise and worship songs. You're just hearing some good, Christian music that you want to jam out to. But God moves in that moment. And so you get to get a stadium full of kids worshiping that way, where they all got their hands up, or they're clapping, or they're praising, moving around, and kids get used to, well, I can only do this in this environment. I can only do that when I'm around my youth group.
D-nows.
Right. I can only do it when it's just the youth.
Yes.
So when you get to see as a youth that openness to willing to praise and to worship the way that they are accustomed, I can only do that with the youth, and you get to see the church do that, and you get to realize I can worship God like this all the time, and like it's acceptable.
Yes.
And you get out of that stereotype of, I can only worship God like this at church on Sundays. I have to stand here in this pew. I can't raise my hand, or if I do, it's got to be like this. You don't get to the full aspect of it.
Yes.
And I think for them to see that, and for a couple of our other youth to get to see that as things are going, like, I mean, that's great.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is with worship, okay, I want to be careful here. I can't say there's no wrong way,
right?
Because a lot of people say there's no wrong way to worship. Well,
there is.
That's where I'm trying to go. So there's a ultra conservative. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to stand there with your hands like this, there's nothing wrong with that, because I don't know your heart. Fireworks could be going off inside of you, and you're just lit up and ready to roll. That's awesome. And the raising the hands, there's nothing that says you can't raise your hands. There's nothing that says you can't do the swaying side to side. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Right. Yeah.
There's nothing biblically wrong with that.
No.
Now and here's where I start stepping on toes, and people might get mad about me saying this, but when you start creating confusion, if a stranger came to the church and said, "What are they doing?" that's when it's wrong. You're not supposed to do that because it says in 1 Corinthians, our God is not a God of confusion. There's supposed to be order. And that whole, I can't remember, I think it's chapter 14, where it's all about order in the church. Mm-hmm. So when you see somebody literally jumping up and down as they sprint down the aisle, screaming at the top of their lungs, back and forth, and you see 40, 50, 60, 100 people doing this thing that looks like a mosh pit, that's not good.
Right.
I don't think that's biblical. I think that's wrong because it's going to, an unbeliever, the outsiders are going to be like, no, I'm not doing that. That ain't for me.
Right.
It has to be in truth and it has to be controlled. There has to be balance there.
Yeah. But no, I'm definitely one of those people that if we start clapping, I can't hold a rhythm. I can't hold
You were telling me that, yeah. It's like clap, clap. And you're there going.
I got to look at other people that are clapping on stage. So if you're clapping on stage, then I can follow along with you. But if you stop clapping and everyone's supposed to be clapping around you, you'll see that I won't clap because all I'm going to do is throw everybody else off around me.
So you're no rhythm Bobby, huh?
I have no rhythm. I'll be like,
That's funny, man. Yeah. I just never realized it because I don't think about it. I don't have to look. And we're Malawi. Their songs are different, but once you hear the first 10 seconds, you got it. Like you can do the beat. You ain't got to look anymore.
Yeah.
But so you got to open your eyes.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be locked into somebody.
This is funny. We're, back to New Orleans. We're standing around this corner, and this one guy wants to sing a song for us.
Right.
And so he's sitting there, he's singing, and he's clapping, and he's telling everybody to clap. I have to stand and look at one of the girls that can hold the rhythm, hold the beat.
Right.
So I can watch her and clap when she's clapping while I can still also look at him so he can see that I'm paying attention to what he's doing.
Right.
And not just have my back turned to him and clapping, so that way he can see I'm listening, I'm paying attention along, but I got to be able to see somebody else hold that rhythm and that beat because I can't do it.
So I guess from that story, is if there's a dude up there, that's who you need to be watching because the girl might think that you're staring her down.
So at one point I did turn, like Jake ended up coming over and moving in the way, so I was like able to sit there and stare at Jake while he was clapping his hands.
Okay,
so I could look at Jake and I was like, all right. And then Jake looked at me, he was like, do I got something on my face? And I was like, nope, I'm just watching your hands so I can clap.
Right, yeah. And I've never thought of that before. I don't lead worship. I don't sing. I don't even know how to play instruments. But if I was, now that I know that, it's like, okay, they're just keeping rhythm watching me. I got you. That's cool, man. That's cool. So, we did a conference, Rector, Arkansas, about 7 hours from where we're at. We're in Southwest Arkansas. They're in Northeast Arkansas, totally different sides of the state. And it was just a great time. We had an awesome weekend. Thank you, Pastor Mike, for inviting us down there. If you're going to watch this, big shout out to you and all your guys, Rich, Tyler, Liv, all those guys. And we do look forward 110,000% to come down there. We got to, like I said, do the show.
Yeah.
So after the sermon that night, we hung out, ate pizza in their fellowship hall, which I called a fellowship hall. I don't know what they call it.
I called it too, yeah.
And then after that, we went upstairs to their podcast room, which we were supposed to be the first ones that actually had video, but it ended up not being video, which is cool. Doesn't matter. We still had a great time. And their podcast is called Almost Brothers Podcast. It's on his hat.
Yep.
I just say it because there are people that can't see us right now. They listen on audio platforms. But yes, he's got the Almost Brothers Podcast hat on. I have one as well. Bobby hooked me up with one of them. I should have wore it. I didn't know. If I knew you were wearing it, I would have wore it.
Well, I figured, like we're doing a podcast. I got to, rep, Michael. Mission Lab, because we talked about New Orleans. So I gotta rep the Mission Lab for New Orleans down there.
I got you. See, we got Vertical Podcast hoodies and stuff. I need to get T-shirts. All we have are hoodies because when we started this, we started it in December.
It was cold.
So it was cold right up until the last few months. And we don't have T-shirts, but I need to get some made just because we'd give them to guests and stuff that were on the show. I need to get one for Casey and Homer. Anyways, that's a when we get off of here conversation. But yeah, man, you got anything else you want to add to everything? Do you have a concluding thought?
I would just say kind of the theme of our summer has been unity.
Yeah.
And it's funny how I wouldn't have thought it was unity because, I'm doing one trip, doing another trip, doing another thing, and you wouldn't necessarily think about it that way. But that's been the message that we've been doing is we want to be unity as a group. Mm-hmm. We want to be unity of getting people to come to God and all about the gospel and being able to tell Jesus and tell people about Jesus and that it's all about Jesus. But in order to do that, you got to have unity.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of been our summer message is unity, and I love it.
Yeah, I agree, man. I didn't think that I don't know, because every year there's like some central theme around it, and I agree. Unity is 100%, and me, it's like a mixed bag. So it's that mixed with that go therefore that I gave. So it's.
I mean that's true, because that was the verse from Mission Trip. That
Yes.
They were out there.
Yes.
Go therefore and make disciples.
Yes.
And we did that week in New Orleans. And I think that we're bringing it back here in D Queen, and when we do next camp, we're going to be in D Queen, out advertising and as well as evangelizing and helping out around the community with a bunch of different aspects. And so it's going to be really cool to get 120 kids from all over the state together to go therefore and make disciples.
Yeah. Not even just Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like, we got kids coming in from all over.
To
come in, and we'll be here in D Queen. We're almost 8,000 people in our town. Some people say, oh, that's not very many. But if you go to places like we've been in, they go, you got almost 8,000 people. Wow.
I know. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I guess I'm big city then.
Yeah, we definitely were big city in Rector. That's for sure.
Yeah, they said, how many? It's about 7,000, 8,000. What?
Yeah.
What all do you have in your town? I don't know. We got a Walmart and
you got a Walmart?
bunch of restaurants and, gas stations that stay open 24/7.
Yes.
What? Yeah, they don't have that. But it's okay, because Michael, shout out to him, was leaving Saturday morning early. And I said, man, if you love us, you bring us some coffee. He never texted me back. I thought, we ain't getting no coffee.
We ain't getting no coffee.
But he did. He brought us
coffee,
donuts from Casey's.
Yeah.
Not Casey a dude, but it's
from Casey's General Store.
See, I didn't even know that was a thing until I got up there. You had already known about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, living in Kansas for 10 years, we had a Casey's General Store in my town.
Man, they have good coffee, though.
They do. And they got everything at Casey's.
That's good. And it really is good stuff.
Yeah.
If you're a Casey's upper management guy, we can be sponsored by you, and we would love that. I'd put a big Casey's mug right here.
Absolutely.
That'd be awesome. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. And if a Monster rep is on there, I drink a lot of them, and I know I shouldn't, but I can also. There's a lot of different things, I guess. Anyways, okay. So, but you good?
I'm good.
All right. I agree with you, man. Like the whole go therefore and make disciples of all nations. Matthew verse 28, verses 18 through 20. That's definitely been a theme, and the theme of unity. That's been a thing. You can go to Ephesians chapter 4, like verses 1 through 6. That's been a big thing, like one faith, one spirit, one baptism, one Lord, living in all and through all. Like that's just, it's
body of Christ.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And just keeping it simple, not getting sidetracked by all the noises and things that you can argue over, and just making it about Jesus.
Yep.
And getting that through to the teenagers so that they know, like, hey, all this can be going on, but at the end of the day, it's all about Jesus. That's what it matters about. And if we've kept it there, we can go to sleep at night and know we've done everything that we can do.
Absolutely.
That's me. So anyways, that's it. We're from First Baptist Church De Queen.
Yep.
Our lead pastor is Josh Herwick. We'd love to have you here if you're in the area. A short drive, long drive. If you feel comfortable driving here, we'd love to have you at 9:30 on Sundays. That's 1535 West Collin Ray Drive of De Queen. But Byron, he should be in next week. This episode will drop on Monday. What's coming up is the 4th of July weekend. You hope you guys we're safe. It's past tense, because when this drops, it'll have happened.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys had a great holiday.
Yeah.
And
Byron, thanks for letting me fill in for you.
Yeah, man. Yes, Byron. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bobby was a great guest, and he will definitely be back.
Yeah.
And maybe us three will do something.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Really cool.
I would love to do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Can't wait to talk to you again with our next topic. And until then, we talk about James, myself, and I. I like to end it with James chapter, I believe it's chapter 1, verse 22, where we are not to be hearers of the word only, but doers of the word. So just keep that in mind as we go out throughout the rest of the week. I love you guys. And until then, stay safe. God bless.